This is awkward occurrence or awkward entertainment. So I'm going to be getting into past interviews of Summer Wells' parents. All right, before I do that, in my last video, I thought this was a boy on the left. I thought that was his son, but turns out that is Summer Wells. That is how short they cut her hair, and she looks like a boy. She is not built like a girl. And I guess because of the hair, but I thought it was a boy. So, correction, that is Summer Wells. And we will get into why she looks like a boy. Why it seems like that family promotes gender confusion amongst their kids. Alright. Now, I'm going to play this video and I will commentate throughout. And we will play a few interviews. So it's going to be a pretty long video. Let's get started. And. Alright. The mother of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells spoke on camera for the first time Monday night during an exclusive interview with News 11. This is going to be about her hair. This was back in June. She states, this is what happened the day Summer went missing. Me and my mother and Summer were outside planting flowers. We went in after we got done washing our hands, and Summer got a piece of candy from Grandma, Blah said. And Summer wanted to go back over and see her brothers, and I said okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walking into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said she went downstairs. Okay, the previous story was Summer was outside helping plant stories. Summer wanted to go inside and play with her toys, so she went to the basement, and that's where she went missing. Now the details seem to have changed. Either the details changed or they added more details to that scene. So they never told us this in the other article I read. It goes, let's start again. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers, and we went in after we got done washing our hands. And Summer got a piece of candy from her grandma. So they all went in, and Summer wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, go back over where? And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walking into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back and asked the boys where their sister was. And they said she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said okay, and I yelled downstairs for her a couple of times. I didn't get an answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. Okay. Details changed a little, but it still comes out to her going downstairs to the basement to play with her toys. Blah says she believes Summer was abducted. Blah would be the mom. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here, lured her away with, I don't know, treats or toys. I don't know. So both the parents believe Summer was abducted from the house or outside. She goes on and says she prayed whoever has her daughter would not harm her. Both Blah and Summer's father, Don Wells, described Summer as a tomboy. They explained the reasons behind the 5-year-old shaved head. Once again, I thought that was a boy in the left-hand corner in a pink dress, but that is a girl. It looks like a boy. Let's continue. If you raise your daughter as a tomboy, that causes gender confusion. They'll grow up thinking they're a boy. They want to be a boy. Still the same applies. Let's continue. Just because they hang out with their brothers don't make them a boy. Let's continue. Summer was a tomboy, Blah said. I shaved my head. She wanted to shave her head like me, and the boys did. So the mom had a shaved head, the boys had a shaved head. She wanted to shave her head like her mom. Should be teaching your young ladies to be young ladies and not young boys. Wells added on that Summer tried to shave her head herself. Summer tried to shave her head, Wells said. I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control. And we decided to shave her head off and let it grow back long. All right. So the excuse would be Summer was playing in her hair, trying to shave it. So they decided to shave it off because it was uneven, so it can go back long. And Blah shaved her head too, so Summer wouldn't feel bad, but it didn't bother her. All right. As for rumors floating around, there's always going to be haters, and there's always going to be. It's always going to be that way. Well, it's not always going to be that way in this world. Well, yeah, until Jesus comes and destroys this world and makes it new again. But let's continue. We just want to focus on good friends and Christian people that are trying to help us and praying for us and praying for Summer. And we thank them for the bottom of our hearts. Let me skim through this because I want to get to the interviews. We don't know anything about a red truck. We hardly know any of our neighbors. Because we just try to be around good people. All right. Let's continue. How's it going, Nance? Miss Nance. Now, what is this about? Over the weekend, Tennessee View. Blah revealed letters to show Summers from the Elizabeth taken hours before the 5-year-old went missing. Alright, I'm gonna get into one of the videos Don Wells did about the trail. Let's get into that one. Give me a second. I'm getting to that one. Alright, this is Don Wells. Don Wells made a statement to the news about there being drug activity in the neighborhood, meth activity. Police, once again, kind of painted him as a liar. First, police painted him as a liar when they said there's no sign of an abduction. There's no sign that Summer Wells was yelling the day she was abducted. Like, it's unfounded that the neighbor heard her yelling, is what the police say. Now they're saying, well, there's no drug dealers in the neighborhood. Something to that nature. There's no big drug dealers in the neighborhood as Don describes it. So they're painting him as a liar throughout this story, the police. Let's just get into this. Don Wells and his theory on what happened to his daughter.
Summer's father tells me he believes the trouble started at the basement door, a door he says her brothers often left unlocked and wide open.
So we'd get on them a lot, and so you can't do that. But
yeah, the discrepancy with the haircut in Summer's case was she was playing in her hair. It was uneven, so they decided to shave it off and let it grow back long. But again, they state she acted like a tomboy. That's because she probably hung around her brothers too much. And the mom shaved her head just so Summer could feel comfortable with her head shaved. But again, she was a tomboy and Summer was.
It just, we'd always find it open a lot of times and stuff. So we tried to control that bit to know,
So he's talking about the basement door. They will always find it open. The boys will always leave it open. He believes, one, an intruder came through that door and took Summer or was waiting for Summer. Or two, Summer left out that door and got abducted when she went to the swing set. Let's continue about the door.
Couldn't control it 100% of the time.
Dawn Wells tells me Summer was last seen going to the basement to play with her toys. Her 3 older brothers upstairs, her mother and grandmother in the yard facing away from the basement door, and Dawn Wells at work.
Well, the mother stated she left the garden. She washed her hands. She walked Summer over to her brothers. She saw Summer go into the kitchen. She told her brothers to watch Summer. She comes back a few moments later. The brothers say Summer's downstairs playing with her toys. She calls for Summer. Summer doesn't answer. Summer's missing just that fast. So, discrepancies in the story is the mom says they were outside, but they were no longer outside. Let's continue.
We don't know if someone was waiting in the basement or if she come outside here and went to the swing. All we know is she went down the basement.
Wells says he believes someone was lurking at the top of the dog trail, just feet away from the basement door. He says the predator somehow managed to snatch Summer, then raced down the steep hill as she struggled.
I guess you guys want to walk down through here.
The trail was not an easy walk. To get down the rugged hill, Wells and I had to hold on to trees. I struggled not to trip or even fall on tree roots.
And you can slide a little bit.
So the dogs kind of came down this trail here.
Yeah.
It's pretty steep.
Yeah. I didn't know the dogs.
And that trail looks like any place a kid would play. Any place his kids would play. I understand why they would pick up her scent. It seems like they would go out there and play since it's so close to the house. It's a trail. But let's continue.
Even had a trail down through here until the police dogs followed it all the way to the road.
Will says he overheard authorities say search dogs followed Summer's scent down the trail to the road before losing it. He painted a vivid picture of a kidnapping, telling me a neighbor likely heard Summer scream.
I think whoever grabbed her probably had her mouth covered, and I think she was gasping for air by the time she got down through here somewhere because our neighbor heard a scream, a really funny scream. I think they just carried her to a vehicle and threw her in there.
And that's the neighbor who police say is unfounded that Summer was heard screaming. Like, they don't corroborate his story in that detail. They don't corroborate his story in that detail. Let's continue. He supposedly was at work that day. If I'm reading into this story correct, he was supposedly at work that day. He passed a lie detector test. So I can't understand why he would be lying. I don't understand how he could just come up with that theory. Someone coming from a trail, coming in the house, or meeting her outside and taking her. And then the scream. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't scream. Police can't find any evidence that she did scream. Doesn't line up with what the neighbors say. Unfounded. Let's continue.
Take her somewhere far away from here.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson has not publicly commented on specifics of the case until now. I asked Sheriff Lawson about Wells' claims. Did dogs follow Summer's scent down the trail to the main road? The sheriff says yes.
The dogs had a pretty good trail, a track for a little while, but they had disappeared, but they lost scent when they come to the road. And sometimes canines they will lose the scent when it changes different type, where they maybe went from the gravel to the pavement.
And did a neighbor hear a scream?
Best I recall, it's been a couple months ago. I think that was unfounded.
Wells tells me the family home on Ben Hill Road is surrounded by drug dealers and buyers.
You get all kinds, with the drug trade, and we've seen quite a bit of stuff surrounding the meth thing. We parked our neighbors caught them parked at our road in our driveway in the middle of the night or early in the morning and stuff like that, and run them off, and they get mad and they raise Cain, and we've had quite a bit of problems.
But Sheriff Lawson tells me Wells lives on a quiet street.
I've heard rumors of, there is maybe a drug dealer on that road, but it's just like anywhere. Ben Hill Road is no different than any other roads in Hawkins.
That's a lot of trees, a lot of land in that area. The house is kind of hidden. That neighborhood kind of hidden. It's not really a neighborhood, all those trees. Like, a lot of land. Well, easily find places to bury the body. Or easy to find places to put a body. But let's continue. I can see how kids can get lost out there. But let's continue.
Over in any other county, as far as even Knox County, we all have drug problems, but no, that's not that problem. That's not correct either.
It's not like a hot spot.
No, it's not a hot spot. And it's a dead-end road, so there's very little traffic, if any.
Don Wells says he doesn't know why.
All those trees and whatnot don't seem like there's too many houses around. Of course, it's a dead end. It can't be a hot spot. You got more trees and land than you do neighbors. More trees and people. Let's continue.
Anyone would take his daughter, but isn't shocked by the disappearance of a child.
There's a lot of missing children.
But Sheriff Lawson says children don't just go missing, especially in Hawkins County.
No, ma'am, we don't have any other missing children.
At Summers' Hilltop home, Wells showed...
People say children just don't go missing. Or the sheriff said children just don't go missing. He said they don't have any other missing children. Okay. Kind of points the finger at the family, but okay. Let's continue.
Me a refrigerator, he says. Summer played on.
I don't know what else she did. What in the world is that?
And we walked to Summer's swing. This is her favorite.
That's her favorite. Yeah, she liked to twirl.
Don Wells is pleading for his daughter's return.
Whoever has her will have mercy, and please let her come home.
Sheriff Lawson says investigators remain committed to finding Summer.
Everyone in Summer's case is still a suspect.
This was months
Don
ago.
Wells tells me he didn't know the dog trail existed until after Summer disappeared.
Erica, you've talked to Summer's mother before as well. She was not a part of this story. Where was she when you were doing these interviews?
Candus was at the home during the interview, but she didn't want to talk and she stayed inside. What about this, Erica? Does the sheriff still believe...
All right, she didn't want to talk during that interview. She stayed inside. Police state everyone in that family is a suspect. That's kind of news. Usually it's been don't go to the parents' Facebook. Don't say the parents are involved at their Facebook. Don't be mean towards the parents. The parents aren't suspects. They aren't suspects. Like in the Brown Laundry case, the Cleo Smith case recently, parents aren't involved. Don't put the parents in it. But in this case, police are saying, well, put the parents in it. They're suspects. Abductions around that area usually don't happen. No, it's unfounded. The daughter was heard yelling. It's unfounded that area is a hot spot for drugs. I'm like, all right. Let's continue. Let me see if anything else I want to take from this before I play the next video. Like, wow. I went over that part. I don't know. This seems like the police is throwing the family under the bus. That's what it seems like. It's possible. Let me play this. It's possible someone else could have kidnapped her because it's a bunch of land, bunch of trees, like a bunch of wilderness out there. So someone could walk up, see her on the swing, and take her. I don't think they walked in the house and took her while she was playing with toys. I mean, and between the time she left planting flowers with her mom and grandma, went into the kitchen with her brothers, went downstairs, the mom came back. That had to be maybe 10 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes from the mom leaving her in the kitchen, coming back, asking the brothers where she's at. She gonna go yell Summer's name. Summer doesn't respond. Summer's missing. Probably 10 minutes. But let's continue, yeah. What's this? Let's continue. Talks about a red Toyota. Summer Wells Reward Fund. Someone driving a red pickup truck was seen close to the home when Summer disappeared. Candus Bly, which is the mother of Summer Wells, says she doesn't know anyone who drives a red Toyota. Have police looked into the red Toyota? It's really strange that I've never seen this truck, she said, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. It's been 4 months. If you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen. Summer Moon Utah Wells is 3 feet tall. Let me skim through this. Missing June 15th. All right. Anything else on this? Before I play the next interview, anything else on this? This just talks about the drug trade. The drug trade Don Wells said was going on in the neighborhood. And then the officer throws him under the bus and says, well, there's no drug trade or whatsoever. It may be one drug dealer, but it's not a hot spot. I think it's very funny the police throws this family under the bus. I think it's very funny. Because once again, they always tell the public, don't accuse the parents. The parents are not involved. Don't go to their Facebook and say this, that, the third. All right. Let's get to the next interview. 514. I played that one. Let me see. Alright. This is Don Wells with his son before his son was taken from his custody. I forget what this is about, but let's listen in.
So when her mother come in, she says, where's Summer? She went down in the basement. She didn't answer.
Okay, this talks about the mom leaving the garden with Summer. They were planting flowers. They went to wash their hands. She walked Summer over to the kitchen. That whole thing I just explained. Let's play the video.
So she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since.
This morning, Donald Wells spoke on camera for the first time since his daughter disappeared.
Please, let Summer be okay. Please come home.
He says it's unlikely Summer would leave the house on her own. Wells says the last time anyone in the family saw Summer was when she entered the house to play in the basement after gardening with her mother and grandmother. Wells also spoke about his gut feeling about Summer's whereabouts.
Some bad person grabbed her, but we have no idea.
Wells says law enforcement have covered leads on area sex offenders and drug addicts.
We're trying to think, beat her brains out. We've covered everything that we can think of already.
Investigators say they have followed up on 85 tips so far. Wells says he is overwhelmed by the massive numbers of personnel on site.
We just really appreciate everybody trying to help that they have, law enforcement and all these volunteers that are here. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
That was John Janko reporting those sentiments shared by Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, who said he has never seen a show of public support like this in his 4 decades of law enforcement.
Yeah, today, the TBI and Sheriff Lawson said Summers' family does continue to cooperate in this ongoing search for the little girl. They say that...
All right, so only ones on site was the mom, the grandmother, the brothers, and Summer. The father was reportedly at work. Police don't believe it's an abduction, but the police in that town could be lazy. They just could be too lazy to even figure out why it would be an abduction. Let's continue. I guess it's kind of hard to say the family did it. It's kind of hard to say the mom has something to do with it. Because she did pass a polygraph test. Even though you can manipulate those. And the dad wasn't home. I don't know. Do they have steps in the house? Did Summer have an accident? She passed away. Mom trying to cover it up. Not telling the dad everything. But why would the mom cover up an accident? Just call the police, say it was an accident. Let's continue. Let's get into the parents' 12-minute interview with a news station a few months ago.
A lot. I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma. And she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch. And I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer. I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was. And
did she say 2 minutes? Only 2 minutes? Alright, so does the dad have a solid theory? So his theory is the drug dealers, the drug addicts in the area were messing around in his backyard, came up to his door, opened the door. She was coming down the steps. Someone was coming down to the basement. There goes a drug addict or a drug dealer. They took her through a trail, got in a car. Let's continue. Unless her body is somewhere out in that wooded area, in those wooded areas. There's a lot of trees over there, man. A lot of trees, not enough neighbors, a lot of land.
They said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around.
Well, didn't no bear or snake, coyotes whatsoever take Summer. Mom said she was only gone for 2 minutes and came back, asked the boys where the daughter was. Let's continue.
Here. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound.
Just go to the FBI, the police, and clear it up. don't know. It seems kind of elusive.
It's really strange that I've never seen this truck, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. And if you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen. She was a tomboy. I shaved my head. She wanted to have her head shaved like me and the boys did.
She tried to shave her head
She tried
in
to
the
shave her head
back and make
herself.
it, I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control, so we decided to shave her head off and let it grow back.
Okay, again, I thought this was a boy in my last video. That is Summer Wells. I thought that was a brother, but look straight up like a dude, like a boy. My bad, my bad. We go back to my last video. Still treat your girls like girls. Don't gender confuse your kids by calling them tomboys or shaving their heads. Let's continue.
And she shaved her head so she wouldn't feel bad, and but it didn't bother her at this point. Well, I knew right away that she was abducted. You know, I knew that right away, and that's what I told them from the beginning. But they have to go through their, you know, I forget the word.
Investigation.
They have to do one step at a time, I guess. But I'm sorry that they had to spend so many man hours in these woods and everything. I've seen them limping and everything else. You know,
Okay, so maybe her body's not in those
I
woods.
just wish there was a way that neighbors could search neighbors' houses, and then if they're not willing, you know, get a search warrant or something. But there's just no way you can search every single house, you know, in the eastern United States or whatever. But I wish there was a way. Just thankful for the person or persons that's doing that, you know, out of love, trying to get information and trying to get her found. We thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
It means a lot.
And we thank everybody who's trying so hard and praying so hard. And she's an awesome young lady, and we just want her back. But, yeah, there's always going to be haters, you know, and you know, it's always going to be that way in this world, and we just want to focus on the good friends and Christian people that are trying to help us and praying for us and praying for Summer. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts, and that's the kind of people we try to relate with and socialize with. So we don't know anything about, you know, no red truck, or we hardly know many of our neighbors. I mean, because we just try to be around good people. I mean, and we do have good people in this area. We found out since this has all happened. We got some real good neighbors and good folks everywhere. But
Again, I doubt they're Christian. I really do doubt they're Christian. But I said that in my last video. I still believe they're not Christian. But let's continue.
The most important thing is to bring Summer home safe. I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband. He's always provided for us and has worked as much as he could and can, and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around. Ever.
she loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl," and she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl until my arm got tired, you know. And you know, I put out there that one of Summer's favorite songs was Godzilla, and they say, you know, and they're jumping all over me about past tense was, you know. Well, I'm sorry about that. It's just...
She also liked the song by New Breed, It was called House. My House. She sung that a lot of times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
She liked to think of herself as a princess, and you know, and all that, like all young girls do. And
she loved Frozen. She loved to be that Elsa and.
Yeah, but she loved Frozen. She shouldn't want to get her hair shaved off to look like Mom. You know, if you're watching TV programming of princesses, you should want to keep your hair long and not play with it with a razor. Or however, she was shaving her head, messed up her head. Then the parents had to go back and correct what she messed up throughout the weeks or months. Shaved the entire head off and had to let it grow back. But let's continue. Just a side note.
I think she really loved to be in church because she felt a lot of love there, and I think you can't explain what that love is, but you feel it and you know it, you know, when you're young, and she felt that there, and she loved everybody in that church, or she loves everybody in that church. I should rephrase that because they'll tear that apart as past tense, and I apologize again for that. I hope she gets to come home, you know, and I hope she gets to be with our church family again.
Our best friend in that church was Robin. She loved her to death.
Yeah, she looked up to women that were...
She come to that church, she went looking for Robin. That was her favorite person.
Any woman that was professional, that
was pretty,
yeah,
beautiful.
She looked up to those kind of women. She, you know, they were, the word I'm looking for, I can't think of it, but... She looked up to them. She'd give them a run for their money every day. She'd give them a run for their money. And there was times, you know, we'd be, you know, at our boys, like, don't do this and don't do that. And next thing you know, the stick would come up and just whop them, you know. And it'd be like, Summer, don't do that.
Summer was the boss of the family.
She typical girl.
When they get out of line, she'd put them in line.
She'd do her best.
She loved to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing and enjoy dirt.
When I run the lawnmower around, she would run behind me. When the boys run their bikes around, she, as fast as that little bike could go, she would be behind them running and keeping up with them, no problem. You know, she loved to run. She just loved to run, and she could pull herself up on that swing, her full body weight with her two hands, and she could do that. None of the other boys can do that, but she can.
That's why she looked like a boy in this picture. Like, she looks like a muscular boy in this picture. Again, I thought that was her brother, but that is Summer Wells.
No, she's going this year.
This was supposed to be her first year.
She's been, we did all the what?
I took care of everything. Yeah. I had her already took on all of her shots and registered in the school ready for this year.
I just never expected for anyone to get a hold of my heart like she has, because I try to guard my heart as much as I can, but she holds my heart in her little hands. And I love her with all my heart. I'd do anything to have her back.
Your little girl.
If there's any way you can find it in your heart to please release her somehow, I don't know how you might do that. I mean, 'cause you're probably scared of going to prison for the rest of your life and everything else, I'm sure. But please find it in your heart, have mercy, and find a way of letting her go, and where we can get her back, and just please have mercy on her, and you know, and us, and her brothers. And she's such a loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home. My biggest fear is, you know, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something, because she loved to be outside all the time. And that was her, unfortunately, her downfall. Because a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? Go get Summer now." And that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person. And
She loved to be outside.
And I'm so afraid that she's locked away. She's such a loving heart and everything, and I'm afraid that she won't be able to, I'm locked away where she can't be outside or play with a puppy or anything, love nature, and that's my greatest fear, that she's not able to do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly.
I don't know. They're so afraid she's locked away. Well, he's so afraid she's locked away. She loved the outside. How many cases with parents where parents have locked away their own kids and said it for the news? They just locked the kids away, did it for the attention in the news. Or can we think of any cases like that? I remember the balloon boy. The balloon boy went missing. Parents told him to hide. They wanted media attention. I'm afraid she's locked away. I'm afraid she's locked away, being tormented in some dungeon. Alright, let's finish this out.
I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I appreciate y'all for the good things you say and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee. I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home safely too.
Yeah, there's nothing. She disappeared without a trace. They haven't found anything, haven't found a body, nothing. And when you see cases like that, that's why I lose hope on Summer. I want to keep hope, but sometimes I just.
All right, in the end, he said sometimes he just lose hope. All right, I have to do more research on this, on these two characters right here. They come up with a solid theory. So far, I believe what these two are saying. Someone went outside. Someone was in the basement, or someone went outside. She was kidnapped, abducted. I believe what these two are saying so far. The police were saying, well, family are still suspects. I don't know if the police are still saying that today, even though they don't have any evidence to support in theory of abduction. They don't have any evidence to support a theory of abduction. Police keep throwing Don under the bus, Mr. Don Wells under the bus. Well, twice. Once with the neighbor, not hearing screams, that's unfounded. And two, Mr. Wells said that place is, I'm paraphrasing, rampant with drug dealers. There's a lot of drug deals going on around there. Police say, well, no, it's not. It's no different from your average neighborhood. That's not a big neighborhood. It's a bunch of trees. Don't seem like there's a bunch of houses around. So, again, I'm going with Mr. Don Wells on this theory. She was abducted for right now until I see something else. I think it's suspicious, he said, something about a dungeon and her being locked away. But they passed lie detector tests. Anything else? Someone speculated the grandmother could be involved. The grandmother could have Summer for Summer's protection. It's been 4 months. That theory is out the door. Is she dead? 4 months. I'm going with Mr. Don Wells' theory that she is dead for right now until I find something else that says, well, she's not dead, or if she's dead, they did it. But I can't see nothing right now that says, well, they did it. Besides the police saying there's no signs of an abduction. But sometimes police can be lazy on the job, you know. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts? Final thoughts. Somewhere's missing. She went to the kitchen, went downstairs. Parents were gone for 2 minutes. There's no reason for the mom and grandma to kidnap Summer Wells. No reason for them to hide Summer Wells. If they wanted to protect Summer Wells, the mom and grandmother could have just ran away from Don Wells. I know Don Wells had a protection order against him by his wife. He was also accused of being violent towards his wife by his wife. The wife was also worried that he would hurt the kids. It was back in 2020. She dropped the protection order in April 2021. She dropped the protection order April 2021. Summer goes missing. But Mr. Wells was at work, right? He was at work when she went missing. Police haven't came out and said, well, no, he wasn't at work, or they haven't came out and said he left work. There's nothing mysterious about his whereabouts on that day. Would the mom and the grandma cover up an accident? Some type of accident? Would they cover up an accident involving Summer Wells, her dying? I don't believe so. No, I can't see why they would cover up any type of deadly accident. I can't see a cover up in this case. I can't see a cover up. Not right now. Cover up. Summer loved to shave her head. She loved to play with sharp objects. Of course, she loved to play with sharp objects. Or did she cut herself and bleed to death? No. Child abduction. It sucks to not have the police on your side as a parent. It sucks. Kind of sucks because I know the police can be wrong. And that can mess up a theory. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end this video out. I can't think of anything else as of right now. I will look through more videos and articles that come up with a theory I like. Because I'm going along with Mr. Don Wells. I'm going along with his theory. Just because he was at work and they passed 2 lie detector tests. So, hey. Well, they passed 1 lie detector test. Each one passed 1. So, anything else? Any comments anybody want to make before I end this broadcast? Any comments? Let's see. Anything else? No. Summer Wells missing. Could she be buried on that trail? Could she be buried in that trail? Well, they brought dogs out. The dogs lost the scent on the pavement. But why would someone bury Summer Wells on that trail? Unless she was dead and they buried her. That's why the dogs could only pick up the scent on the trail, because her body is on the trail. But that also supports Don Wells' theory. She got into a car when the dog lost scent at the pavement. So it goes from dirt, then it goes onto a paved road. So it's a lot of land out there, a lot of trees. A lot of spots to hide a dead body. Not too many neighbors. Shouldn't be too many suspects since you don't have too many neighbors. The likelihood of a kidnapping goes down because you don't have too many neighbors. You don't have too many crazy people around. So if you don't have too many people in your area, the likelihood of crime goes down. He was at home. She was at home. Does the kid have a life insurance policy? I haven't seen anything about Summer Wells having a life insurance policy that would give you motive to kill her if she has life insurance, the kid. But I haven't seen nothing in the news, nothing so far saying she had life insurance. Neighbors. All right. This has been Awkward Occurrence or Awkward Entertainment. I'm going to go ahead and end this video out, and I will see you in the next video.